At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Brian Ponder, who is a district supervisor for the Middle South Georgia Soil and Water Conservation District, and also GACD's Group 3 Vice President, to come forward and give our invocation and welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I wanted to make sure you could hear me okay. Can you hear me, Katie?
Yes.
Okay. If you will, let's pray together. Father God, we just thank you for this day that you blessed us with. And Lord, we come together with this meeting, and it's certainly wasn't the way we had planned on it being. But we know that, Lord, you control all things, and it's in your hands. Father, we just ask that you would be with us in the midst of this meeting, that we would learn more to take care of our natural resources that you have so blessed us with. And we thank you, Lord, for living in such a wonderful place and such a wonderful country that you have so blessed us with. Father, I pray that you would be in the midst of this meeting, and I pray that you go forward with us and keep us safe in everything that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Group 3 summer meeting, and as I said, it certainly wasn't what we had planned on it being. I know that Maddie and Katie and Mark had worked really hard to put a nice meeting together over in Albany, but when your caterers cancel on you and the venue, and it's understandable as to why they did that, but we thought we'd be past this time, but we'll do the best we can, and that's what we've learned to do. And I just like to thank everyone for coming and being here. I thank you for what you do for conservation, for what you do in your districts. And with that, I'm gonna hand it off to President Mark Masters and turn it over to him. And thank you, everyone.
Great, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Appreciate the welcome, and wish you all the best. I know you're heading to the cornfield, and a lot of folks are busy this time of year, and so appreciate you making the time to be on for this call. So just another word of welcome. My name is Mark Masters. I'm from home right here in Group 3, supervisor over in Terrell County, and as Brian mentioned, certainly was looking forward to seeing everybody in person and meeting the handful of folks that are on that I don't know, but we'll have to have to wait and do that another time. But excited for those of you that were able to join, and we've got a good program lined up and some training and hopefully some good discussion to come. So thank you all for being here. So we've got some special guests and partners with us this morning. We're anticipating Commissioner Gary Black to be on at some point, but schedules are crazy these days, and so we'll join him in when he's able. But we've got on the phone Senator Tyler Harper from over in Middle Georgia, and appreciate you being here, Senator, and would love for you to share a minute if you'd like. Did we lose him? Hey, Senator. Now? We do. We got you. Okay. Good morning.
All right. Sorry, I was trying to get all unmuted. So, good morning, Mark. Good to be with you. I'm on the road this morning. Can't be over Zoom. I'm sure the commissioners all over the place too. He and I were together last night, but just wanted to join you this morning and just like we've talked about before, just take an opportunity to say thank you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tyler Harper. I serve in the State Senate and have the honor of being the chairman of the Natural Resources and Environment Committee, which in turn means that we work pretty close with the conservation districts and across the state on conservation measures. And but it's good to be with you, Mark and Brian, and everybody else that's on the phone call this morning or on the Zoom call this morning. I just want to tell you I appreciate the work that y'all all do and the work that we do together with you, Mark, and your leadership and your team, and as well as Katie and the other folks with the association. We've had a lot of wins lately in Georgia, but doesn't mean that we can just celebrate those and do nothing. There's a lot of work still to be done. especially in light of the Supreme Court ruling that we had, and just, you know, a week or so ago, the ruling from the federal court judge in the Atlanta area in regards to that water case. But just because we've put ourselves in a good spot because of that, and had a lot of work over the last 15 or 20 years or so, and a lot of things that have been done, and a lot of that is because of a lot of the work of our conservation districts and the things that y'all have done to help us get to where we are. And I just want to tell you, thank you. But we've got to lock arms and continue to work forward, continue to put Georgia in a good spot, and I think we can continue to be a leader in that regard, and be in a good place going forward. But we got a lot of work to do in this water conversation to ensure that we're still in the best place. And I know that we can do that together. I just wanted to tell you, thank you for what you do, whether it's in the feral hog world or all the other things that our conservation districts do across the state. We appreciate the partnership you have with those of us in the legislature and the Department of Agriculture, among others, Department of Natural Resources, and ensuring that we continue to protect the resources that God has given us. And I look forward to our continued partnership together and our work together going forward. And I just want, if I can ever be of assistance, feel free to reach out at any time. You have a great team working for you between Mark and Katie and everybody else that we work with pretty closely on the state level, and just appreciate what y'all do on your local level, because at the end of the day, what you're doing on the local level is significantly important to the efforts we're trying to do statewide and addressing the issues in reference to our resources and conserving those resources. So glad to be with you this morning. I hope y'all have a great meeting today. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to stay on very long due to my tight schedule, but it's a great opportunity just to hop on and say a few words. And Mark, thank you for the opportunity. And if I could ever be of assistance, y'all feel free to reach out at any time. God bless you all. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Senator. Appreciate you squeezing us in this morning, and for your comments. And, you know, we just say that goes both ways. That your door's always been open, and you've been a great partner for us, and we appreciate that. And as things are coming down from the Capitol, that you know, you need to get out to the rest of the folks. You know, GACD is there to support you in that effort as well. So we appreciate that partnership. Hope all goes well for you today, and appreciate you being on. All right, we're gonna.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Take care. We're gonna move on ahead in the agenda. We've got Tansel Hudson with us today from NRCS, and appreciate him being on. We're going to ask him to give us an update from NRCS. They're, of course, one of our major partners, but just wanted to also express our condolences to Terrence Rudolph. Katie sent out a note, and I think most folks have heard. Terrence lost his father-in-law somewhat unexpectedly a little over a week ago, and so his family's been dealing with that, and so he wasn't able to join us. But y'all be sure to remember Terrence in your thoughts and prayers, and lift up his family. But we've got Tansel with us. He's no stranger to GACD, and does a lot to support us and all that we're trying to do out around the state. So Tansel, appreciate you being on, and look forward to your update.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate everyone joining in this morning. I'll just jump right in on Terrence's behalf. Just some updates of what's going on in the NRCS world and where we are, and a little bit maybe of where we're headed in the upcoming months. Just a brief update on where we are as it relates to COVID. We're still functioning and opening as always, but there's new mandates and policy coming out, seems like daily almost. We have a lot of offices limited in staffing. I think we're up to about 45 offices or so that are limited in staff at 25% and no visitors. So if you're visiting our offices, just call ahead and make sure the protocol and what's going on. We can still make field visits and meet others as needed. A little bit on staffing. We've had a vigorous year in staffing. The students that we had for this summer have returned to school, so that has expired. But we're currently around 240 full-time employees on board, and we still have some vacancies out there. Those are posted on USA Jobs. So if you know of anyone that's interested in joining up with NRCS, point them to USA Jobs, and we'll be glad to work with them to try to get their application submitted. A little bit about the different departments and what we're working on from a state level. The engineering team continues to work on standards. Also, they are busy with a lot of watershed activities. Mitch may speak on it more, but there's a lot of activities in the watershed area, and we've made a lot of progress, and we continue to do a lot of assessments, plannings, designs, and constructions. The technical service team, we're currently without a state resource conservationist. I believe that position has been advertised. I don't know the status of it, but one of the main goals for that shop is to work with our staff to make sure everyone achieves their conservation plan of certification. So I'm sure in the first quarter of 22, that will be a big push. As I understand it, the deadline for having that plan of certification completed is the end of this calendar year. Dan and others have been working on the natural resources inventory. As I understand it, the north part of the state has been completed, and they'll be starting in South Georgia soon. Don't know exactly when. On the agreements, we've had a good agreement year. We were able to get a lot of agreements fully executed for a change before the end of September. So we're in a pretty good spot. We've got 3 or 4 that are hanging to be reviewed. We've got a whole host of amendments out there. Some of them have been completed, others have not. But we continue to work on that and payments. We get daily feedback on the Easy Feds process. Just so everybody knows, we understand we have to deal with it as well, but we are making progress. Just a little bit on the Farm Bill. That seems to be what most people are interested in. So this year for our Environmental Quality Incentive Program, we were allocated $42 million. We were somewhere in the 99% plus obligated. So that's another huge milestone for this time of year. Usually it's later in the year before we start hitting some of those targets. But between all the field staff and affiliates, we were able to get a lot of that money obligated probably about a month ago, actually. Georgia is one of the states of 10 that have been asked to target the climate change initiative. So we're working through that. We'll see how that goes. And that is, as I understand it, will be opened up nationwide next year for all states to participate. A couple more items. CSP, we received about $20 million this year, and we're about 90% obligated on that. The GCI letters have already been sent out for producers that are eligible to participate. So some of you may have received those and choose to participate. And just looking ahead to FY22, we'll probably have EQIP, the Agriculture Incentive Program, and the Regional Conservation Partnership Program signups will probably be announced sometime in October. And more than likely, the CSP signup will take place in the second quarter, so sometime after the first of the year. So that's just a brief snapshot of where we are and some of the things that we've been working on. Be glad to take questions at the end, and appreciate the opportunity just to have a couple minutes to update everyone on where we are. Thank you so much.
Hey, good. Can y'all hear it? Katie, can you hear me? Thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I apologize to everybody. I don't know what's going on. Usually really stable internet where I am right now. Sorry, Tansel, I missed the last little bit there. And something I should have mentioned earlier, we're going to have some time for questions and all at the end. As Katie mentioned early on, the chat box is down there. If you got something you want to put in the queue for discussion, just go ahead and drop it in the chat. But all our presenters are going to be around, and we'll have time to circle back for questions in a little bit. So sorry about that, and sorry for the dead air, as it were. But so we're also happy this morning to have Candice Abinati with us. She is our Southeast rep for NACD and does an awful lot of work, not just in Georgia, but all around the Southeast for NACD. And appreciate you being with us this morning, Candice. And with that, the floor is yours.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for the kind words and introduction, and a big good morning to Group 3. As Mark said, I'm Candice Abinati. I'm NACD Southeast Region Representative, and I serve the 11 states and territories of the Southeast. And big thank you to GACD for your support of NACD, and also this opportunity to be a part of the Group 3 meeting today. I'm going to talk a little bit about just kind of basics about NACD for anybody new or unfamiliar with us. Our mission is to promote the wise and responsible use of natural resources for all lands by representing locally led conservation districts and their associations through grassroots advocacy, education, and partnerships. And we got our start in 1946. When a group of conservation districts met in Chicago. And so for our summer meeting this year, we had our 75th anniversary in Chicago and had a great celebration. And I wanted to share a photo from that. So bear with me as I get that up, because I wanted to particularly call out John Redding, who is here in the photo. And John's one of our past presidents and of course well-known, and has made many contributions in Georgia as well. So I just wanted to, what was so great about our 75th anniversary is we were able to convene 12 of our past presidents in Chicago. So that's a picture of all of them there. And a big thank you to John for serving as president of NACD back in 2008 and 2009, and also for his continued engagement in NACD and current leadership on our National Conservation Foundation, NACD's sister organization. I'll stop sharing there. But yeah, just a few more things about NACD. We serve as the unified national voice for the nearly 3,000 conservation districts across the US. And a big part of our work is making sure to secure that adequate federal funding for natural resources conservation programs. And we have a very large member-driven board of directors that selects conservation policy priorities that are used to develop and review environmental and natural resources legislation. And we're very grateful to all our board members and Georgia's board members, so Mr. Danny Hogan and Mr. Mark Masters, for all that they do serving on NACD's board and their engagement in NACD. In addition to the advocacy work that we do, NACD also communicates a lot. So if you are not already signed up for our publications, I would encourage you to check out our website and do sign up for those that are of interest to you. We have a weekly publication called eResource that comes out each Tuesday afternoon. It's kind of just a weekly roundup of all sorts of events and notices and deadlines coming up. We also publish a quarterly publication called The Resource, which is kind of a longer format. It contains some great stories in there and partner updates. From time to time, we come out with special reports, and then we also maintain a blog and a strong social media presence. So we will meet you wherever you are. Please sign up or follow us online, and it's a great way to see what other districts are doing across the country and stay up to date on the latest news. We also do a lot to develop conservation leaders. And these are through opportunities to either serve on our board, on our various foundational committees or resource policy groups. to attend the various events we do. We have, of course, NACD's big annual meeting in February of each year, a smaller summer meeting, usually in July, and then all sorts of different webinars and events that we host. And one that I wanted to share with you this morning is the Next Generation Leadership Institute. This is a program that Mark has been involved in for the past year plus, and we are coming up again on a application period where we are seeking 7 new applicants for our second cohort group. And what the Next Generation Leadership Institute, or NGLI, is, it's a year-long professional leadership development training for district officials. And it's comprised of both in-person meetings, typically those coincide with NACD's big meetings, as well as virtual meetings that explore a wide variety of different professional development topics. And it's open. The application period is open right now. It's open to currently appointed or elected conservation district officials, folks with current or potential for a statewide leadership position. And thank you, Mark, for posting the link there in the chat. And so our goal this year will be to recruit 7 participants for the cohort, 1 from each of NACD's 7 regions. And if you are interested, either Mark or myself would be happy to answer questions. The application itself consists of an online application, a signed letter of support from your state association and conservation district, and then a $50 application fee. And the deadline is Friday, September 24th for that program. NACD also provides direct services to conservation districts, and I just wanted to tease a little bit because we have 3 grant programs, and 2 of those will be launching their next application period in the fall. So one is the Friends of NACD District Grants Program. I like to kind of talk about this as a micro grants program. We are gearing up to be able to offer 4 grants, each in the amount of $2,500 to districts starting this fall. And then the awards will be announced at NACD's annual meeting in February. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. We'll be launching more information about that probably later on in the fall. And then we also have, in partnership with NRCS, we have an Urban Agriculture Conservation Grant Initiative. That application period also opens up in the fall. And it is to enable conservation districts to provide technical assistance in either developed or developing areas. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a very broadly urban district. It could be a more rural district with kind of a dense urban area that the district is looking to provide more conservation technical assistance in. And those grants typically range in the $50,000 range. And then later, probably kind of halfway through our fiscal year 22, starting, maybe more in the spring, we are also gearing up for another round of our technical assistance grants program. So that'll be a little bit later that we'll announce that. And I will look forward to working with GACD to pull together a little bit more detail about these programs in a video that you all will be able to watch a little bit later. But I also wanted to let you all know that we have been in communication with a company that in fiscal year 22, so for us that starts in October, we are happy to announce that we're gearing up to offer access to health insurance as a benefit to district officials and employees whose districts contribute dues at the 775 level or above. So we are currently working on communications for that, but we have signed an agreement with this company, and we're looking to provide more information to districts nationwide about that launch in the fall. And I'm going to go back here to my presentation because I just wanted to share a few dates with you all. There they are. We have some events coming up that I just wanted to share with you. So coming up in November is the Southeast Conservation District Employees Association Annual Conference. That's going to be in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And then we'll have NACD's annual meeting in February, which will be held in Orlando, Florida this year. Also kind of ahead, we have the 67th annual Stewardship Week, and the theme this year is going to be Healthy Soil, Healthy Life. That's going to be celebrated April 22nd through May 1st. And then we have a lot of events planned for the Southeast region in this upcoming year. We are going to be holding NACD's summer meeting and Southeast region meeting jointly in July in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So our fingers are crossed that everything goes well and we can see everybody in person there. And let's see, I just wanted to thank you all. Here's my contact information. If I can help connect you with any of NACD's resources, or if you have questions for me, I'm always happy to take texts and phone calls and emails and any variety of way that you want to communicate with me. And a big thank you to all of Georgia's districts. More than half of you have paid dues to NACD. So thank you so much for your support to NACD. And thank you for everything that you do to put conservation on the ground. And yeah, please don't hesitate. If I can be of any help, I'll look forward to talking with you. And Mark, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, so did I go away when Candice got through too?
You're good, Mark.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. All right, so I'm going to keep the video off. Maybe that'll help. Candice, thank you. When I lost, you were talking about our districts and the views to NACD. Just another plug. You know, Candice went through a lot of things that NACD is doing, all the various grant programs and technical assistance grants and things. Just if you're not aware, Georgia has been able to take advantage of a lot of those through our affiliation with NACD, and a lot of that is getting on the ground in Georgia in the form of urban conservation grants and pollinator stuff and lots of different things. So let me just plug NACD for districts that haven't paid. You know, we're nearly 100% in terms of districts paying GACD dues, which is outstanding. But if you're not paying NACD, you're missing out, and you know, we'd love to follow up on that. So Candice, thank you for making the effort to be here and for that good report. So going to transition now to our partners with the commission, and we're going to turn it over to Mitch Attaway in just a second. But Mitch, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the boss up there. We're happy that Chairman Bob Martin is from Group 3, and glad to see you on this morning, Chairman. Appreciate the partnership with the commission and all the good stuff that we've got going. So appreciate that. And Mitch, turn it over to you and Robert.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that, and absolutely for those of y'all that know Chairman Martin, Mr. Bob, you know he doesn't like the spotlight, is a quiet person, but understand when he does speak, it's worth listening to, and just thank him for his leadership and support that he provides us up in Athens. And I wish, kind of with Mr. Bryan, wish we were in Albany this morning in front of everybody and being able to do this in person. Definitely understand the need and the reason that we're not, and want to commend Mark and Katie and the rest of the GACD team for putting this together, shifting gears and still allowing us to get together this morning and give updates and just discuss what's going on with everybody. At the commission right now, it's kind of that time of the year where we just wrapped up a fiscal year, and we're shifting gears and planning, doing strategic plans and performance reviews and measurements for employees. So it's kind of a time we're studying what we did and what we'd like to accomplish moving forward. And just to recap some highlights of FY21, even though we were at home working a lot of the time and not really seeing each other and seeing you like we would like to, we still accomplished a good bit. to me, it kind of proves that what we do is important. It didn't stop, a pandemic didn't stop conservation. And in that theme, our erosion and sediment control plans, which is where, you know, we make sure we can have the development, but we're going to protect our natural resources while we're allowing that development. We set a record in there with over 4,300 plans reviewed the last fiscal year. That's a big sign that Georgia's growing. It's also a big, you know, that staff in the urban department that handles that, they deserve a lot of kudos for that. They've been busy with the certification classes. Just last month alone, there were over 100 classes. That interest, that need is there. That's great. In our rural department, Tansel mentioned that his engineer guys are busy with the watershed dams. We love that. I feel like every time I give a speech, I say we're busier than ever in that area, but we just keep on getting busier and busier, and that's good because the need is there. You'll remember that most of these dams that the districts and the commission are associated with were built in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and we're just at a time in their life that they need some attention. And we're fortunate enough that we have partners like NRCS to help us out with some financial assistance in doing that and some technical assistance in that. The guys in the rural department are also staying busy with some grant work, promoting ag BMPs. One thing that we're really interested in and excited about is some cover crop work that we're doing in kind of two different joint ventures in the Terrell County, Calhoun County area. We're partnering with some RC&Ds, Golden Triangle down there with an extension, and we're doing some plots, and also have some 319 funds that I know Ben Heyer in that department is working with NRCS down there to get spent out, really kind of focusing on the cover crops. We've done some cover crop work in Northeast Georgia, haven't really hit down there in Southwest Georgia. So we're excited about what we can see, what we can learn, and promoting that opportunity there as well. I would be remiss if I didn't mention another opportunity that we're excited to start kicking off, and that's an agreement that we've entered with NRCS to provide some technical assistance for us, two districts, and to the just the general public and the areas that these people will be working in. Where that's going to be 3 staff members that we're bringing on in the next couple weeks. These people, I call them the liaisons from the district to our headquarters office. So moving forward, when these people are in place, that's going to be a face from the commission that you'll see more often at your district meetings. They'll be your point of contact. Not saying that we don't want to hear from you in Athens anymore, but you're just going to get better, quicker service through them than Robert. Robert will no longer have to be Superman trying to assist 40 districts for the commission. He's going to have that support out there. We're excited about that. I know he is. Also want to mention, and I think most of y'all are aware, and a lot of y'all have already got some copies, but we worked and reprinted and updated the Supervisor Handbook. The 2021 Supervisor Handbook is what we're calling it. We want to thank Katie for her assistance with that. We spent some time together this spring going through and update some things, and now have a finished product to share with supervisors. So please let us know if you do not have one, you would like one, we'll coordinate with you to get one. And along the lines of training, in July, we partnered up with Attorney General's office and hosted an hour-and-a-half training seminar on open records, open meetings, and districts' roles within official code of Georgia. I thought it was very beneficial. We have that recorded. We have the whole PowerPoint slide available on our website, or we can send it to you if you would like. And at this time, I'm going to ask Robert to hit a few highlights of that training. And as I said, I thought it was very beneficial. So Robert, if you don't mind, I will turn it over to you.
Appreciate it, Mitch. Good to be with everybody. I'm going to echo everybody else. I wish it was in person. Hopefully it will be soon. As Mitch mentioned, this is about an hour and a half recording. If you have an extra hour and a half, I would definitely recommend watching this. It's got a lot of good information, but it's an hour and a half presentation that I'm going to cover in about 3 minutes. I'm going to hit some highlights in about 3 minutes. So certainly as we do get together, we're distributing the handbooks. I'm including this PowerPoint presentation with the hard copy of the handbook. But definitely would recommend you watch the whole presentation. It may have some, provide some discussion items that when we do get together, we can talk further. So I'm gonna share. So, the training agenda, these are the items that the Attorney General's office went over. I'm not going to read each one of these, but the two that I definitely want to touch base on this morning that the Attorney General's office discussed. Well, this is the legal portion of it that dictates that districts are state entities. We work with the districts as an agency, and the Attorney General's office represents us as the agency and districts as state entities. So this just gives you the law section codes where the Attorney General's office represents not only the commission, and we can ask for the Attorney General's office to make law decisions on questions we have, but also districts have that ability as well. So the two items that I wanted to briefly touch base on was the Open Records Act. This is an act that was provided, that we are open and transparent to the public. Anytime that a district receives an open records request, 99% of that time it will come to the state office here. But if a district specifically receives an open records request, you must respond within 3 business days. That is not a time frame we can get around. I would really encourage you, if you ever do receive an open records request, contact me. I've got about a 1/4 inch thick file of open records requests that I've received over the years. I've got a pretty standard response that we can submit and make that 3-day deadline. So like I said, most of the time when we get open records requests, they come directly to the state office. But if you ever do receive an open records request, we have to respond within that 3 business day time frame. There are exemptions. Just because somebody makes an open records request doesn't necessarily mean that we might have to provide that information, but we do have to respond. So the other thing that they touched on was the Open Meetings Act. And again, this is just to provide transparency and create trust with the public. In order to have an official meeting, we have to have a quorum. This is what the Attorney General's office has designated that constitutes a quorum. It does mean that we have 50 plus 1, the supervisors there. And with the Open Meetings Act, it just really, what it boils down to is we cannot exclude anybody from attending a meeting. We can certainly dictate on how long they get to speak, but anybody that wants to attend a meeting does get to attend a meeting. They also went over the role of soil and water conservation districts, and this is straight out of Official Code of Georgia. And one of the first things you can see there is to develop a plan. I know most everybody has either finished or is finishing up updating their annual plans of work. That is in code. So, and it's important to do that every year to develop a plan for how you're going to move forward. These are the roles of the district supervisor continue as dictated in Official Code of Georgia. And most everybody, I think, is familiar with these these duties, but This is actually how it's laid out in state law. One of the other things that was talked about was funding as it relates to that district role and an individual supervisor's role. There's a variety of ways that you can receive funding beyond your state allotment. And for those of y'all maybe that haven't met or haven't received your letter and just don't know, Commission Board back in June did approve an increase of every district's state allotment. Those funds are available now. So just remember though, all funds, all state funds, all district funds are state funds. So do y'all have any questions?
Perri is the executive director for the Flint River Soil and Water Conservation District, and she is going to tell us a little bit about the district's Radium Springs project. So Perri, we're glad to have you today.
Thanks, Katie, and thanks to Mark and Katie for inviting me to be here today and share a little bit about some conservation work in Group 3. I'm going to try and share my screen. You'd think after all this time I'm a technology expert with Zoom, but I see Mr. Bailey on. He can tell you I still am learning about Zoom every day. So let me see if I can get this going. All right. Can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, sorry, Perri. Just hit that swap button.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. There you go.
We got it. Yep.
All right. Well, thanks again to Mark and Katie and GACD for having me here today. I'm going to share just a really abbreviated version of some work that we are collaboratively working on in Radium Springs. Some quick background: Radium Springs is considered one of Georgia's 7 natural wonders. It's one of 20 springs from the Florida aquifer in the lower Flint River Basin, just south of downtown Albany. Historically, in the 20s, there was a big hotel and casino resort on the springs. It was a popular place to visit and swim and hang out. For the first time in 1981, the spring had a documented cease flow. My father-in-law, he's from North Georgia, but he grew up with cousins in Albany and has all of these memories of, going to Radium Springs. It's where everyone hung out when he would come visit his cousins. Since I have been alive and gone to Radium Springs, it is much different. It's not very, I'm usually one of the only people there, and, sometimes it's stagnant. So this documented change in flow is a result of water withdrawals from the Florida aquifer in the spring shed. So depending on drought, depending on industry withdrawal, on agricultural withdrawal, that's when we see these fluctuations. So the district, myself, I've been lucky enough to work with Mark on this project, an interdisciplinary group of policymakers, conservationists, folks at the county, farmers have all come together to talk about, how can we revitalize this natural wonder in Southwest Georgia. So there's some current work going on. There are 3 different monitoring wells within the spring shed. The county is making a significant investment into taking about 84 acres and making it a passive recreational park, which means boat launches, rebuilding some of the gazebos that have fallen, some of the bridges, and establishing about 5 miles of trail within the Radium Springs area, and really opening it back up as a public park that all folks can come and enjoy. This also includes some management of invasive hydrilla, which is ongoing. That will, be a year-to-year control effort. And so there, this partnership has worked collaboratively to, begin this work. But of course, if we want to restore flows, there are some other things here that we want to consider, and that's really what I'm going to focus on today, and where the Flint River District has been pretty involved in working closely with the team. This here is a map of this spring shed. So you'll see the point of kind of this teardrop shape is the Radium Springs, and the blue and green areas are the documented spring shed. It's an estimation. This was developed in 2010 by one of the partners of the group, retired USGS hydrologist Elliot Jones. So you'll see in here, and I don't know if my mouse will show it, but you'll see, you know, there are some ag fields under center pivot within the spring shed. And then I also want to point out, just because of the proximity to the spring, the group has also really looked at working in these fields here as well. Again, some row crop agriculture under center pivot, and then this is a large pecan orchard here. So let's see, move on. So there are a couple of approaches that we're taking to improve agriculture irrigation water use efficiency in and around the spring shed, which we anticipate will have a direct impact on the flow at the spring. So one of the things that we're doing, the district is currently working with the University of Georgia to conduct research to develop an irrigation scheduling tool for pecans. Irrigation scheduling tool in and of that tool in and of itself is not new. We've done a lot of work with our partners at USDA and at UGA in developing irrigation scheduling tools. We've worked with the National Peanut Research Lab and turning Irrigator Pro from a desktop tool to a mobile app tool that can be used in the field for peanut irrigation scheduling. UGA and the University of Florida, we've also worked with them to develop several irrigation scheduling tools. On average, those improve irrigation water use efficiency about 15%, but a tool specifically for pecan irrigation has not been developed. And so, you know, not only in the spring shed, but across Group 3, across the Flint River District, we really hope that this tool will be easy to use and have an impact in improving irrigation water use efficiency and yields in pecan orchards. So we're really excited about this project and hope that you know, in the next couple of months that we'll actually have a tool that we can then begin to do some implementation of irrigation scheduling in the spring shed, and like I said, beyond this. I think this has a broad-reaching impact here. And really the idea behind this is to understand, depending on the crop growth stage, the phenology, the real-time weather data, soil moisture data, how much water does the crop actually need, and at what time, and so that we're applying the most efficient amount of water onto the crop there. The other big focus is in center pivot irrigation efficiency improvements. So I just took some Google Map screenshots of a couple fields in and around the spring shed, just to kind of highlight some of the things that we're looking at. So we do currently, we are just in the last couple of weeks beginning work to actually implement some center pivot efficiencies. This is really variable depending on the farmer need or on the actual, field level conditions. Right now we're repairing some leaks on an old pivot. So, that's one example of implementation, but, another thing that we'll look at, for example, like on this pivot right here, you can see that there's a large non-crop area to put a VRI on this center pivot and actually take that out of irrigation. All of these things add up over the spring shed scale to improve irrigation water use efficiency. You'll see here actually in the spring shed, about 800 acres has been removed from irrigation and put into solar. So it'll be interesting to see the impact that has on spring flow. But the district, along with the partners in this group, are really making a large investment in working directly with landowners and improving irrigation water use efficiency. And with the partnership in place and with monitoring wells and with annual water quality, or monthly rather, water quality assessments, we really expect to see the translation of what these improved efficiencies look like at the spring head, and coupled with the investment by the county and you know, putting money into the trails and reopening this as a public park. We're really excited about this opportunity to work on the ground and making a conservation impact. And like I said, I've really enjoyed working with Mark as a part of this team, and to see this come together. And like I said, I wanted to get through this quickly because I know we have a little bit more of a condensed agenda today. But this is just a big picture of some of the conservation work going on in the Flint River District and in Group 3. And I would love to answer any questions and talk more about this and other projects that we've got going on. So I really appreciate it, again, to get to share this with our conservation partners in Group 3. And thanks, Mark and Katie, for having me. And I will turn it back over to y'all unless there are any questions for me.
Yeah, Perri, thank you. Appreciate that. We got a minute or two if there's questions. And I guess while folks are thinking of them or whatever, I would just say I think the presentation is really exemplary of what districts are set up to do and can be really good at doing. So we heard from the senator this morning earlier about we have a really good story to tell in terms of water conservation, particularly on ag, and we've done a good job of that. But there's always additional things we can do and efficiencies we can gain. And so this project that the Flint is involved in, and as Perri mentioned, I'm fortunate enough to be involved in another capacity, and lots of partners. That's what these districts are good at is assembling the partners and being a conduit to the landowners. And so that's it's a really good example of that in action. And hope we can replicate that across the state in any number of ways. So any questions or comments for Perri while we've got her on the phone here? All right. Well, great, Perri. Thanks. And may circle back, and if it's okay with you, we'll have those slides and can share them to the rest of the group. So thanks for making the time to be with us. All right. So next we're going to hear from our GACD Executive Director, Katie Sponberger. She's going to give you kind of an overview of what GACD's been up to, and with a little bit of a focus, obviously, on Group 3, since that's the group we had this morning. So Katie, turn it over to you.
Hey everyone, good morning. Thank y'all for all joining us today for GACD's Group 3 training. I hope to see y'all in person again soon, but I'm Katie Sponberger. I'm the Executive Director of the Georgia Association of Conservation Districts. And like Mark said, today I'll be giving y'all an update on what all GACD has been up to the past year. So first today, I will be introducing members of GACD staff that serve Group 3. Then I'll be discussing GACD programs in action across Group 3. And lastly, I'll wrap up my presentation with a recap of the 2021 Natural Resources Conservation Workshop. So under our new agreement with NRCS that started July 1st, our staff lineup looks slightly different at GACD, but we are continuing to provide the same level of service and support to our conservation partners. Through the new agreement, we will be providing districts with regional support through our regional program managers. So at this time, I would like to introduce Audra Walden. Audra is GACD's new regional program manager serving Group 3. Audra is a former district program assistant for the Central Georgia Soil and Water Conservation District, and she will be providing support to all of the conservation districts located in Group 3. So she can assist your district with coordinating your monthly meetings, minutes, and outreach activities as needed. And I'm sure most of you have already spoken with Audra, but I do have her email here for you on the screen if you have any questions for her or need assistance. And she does live in Rochelle, Georgia, so she is local to Group 3. I would also like to thank Michelle Boone. Michelle previously served all of South Georgia as GACD's South Georgia Program Manager. And Michelle has recently stepped into one of our regional roles with GACD, where she'll be working exclusively with all of the conservation districts in Southeast Georgia. But I did want to extend a thank you to Michelle for all the assistance she has provided y'all over the past few years. So next, I would like to introduce GACD's staff that serves conservation districts on a statewide level. So this is me, Katie Sponberger. I'm the Executive Director of GACD, and I manage all the daily operations of the association. And next we have Maddie Barnes. Maddie is GACD's project coordinator, and she coordinates all of GACD's policy efforts and events, and she also leads our Friend of Conservation Annual Fund. In addition, she assists with the execution of statewide GACD programs. Next is Harold Wilson. Harold works with GACD and the Lower Chattahoochee River Soil and Water Conservation District to manage our cover crop project that you will hear about later in my presentation. And this is Irony Payne. I'm sure you all have spoken with Irony, but she is GACD's pollinator coordinator, and she leads the execution of our pollinator garden and habitat initiative. And this is Earl Brantley. Earl manages GACD's Cooperative Agreement Program, or it's also known as our County Agreement Program. And through this program, Earl assists NRCS offices across the state by providing them additional staffing through agreements with local government and conservation entities. At this time, GACD has provided funding for the following counties in Group 3 to assign a staff member at NRCS through our Cooperative Agreement Program: Taylor County, Pulaski County, Webster County, Randolph County, Early County, Miller, Mitchell, Colquitt, Worth, and Crisp County. And GACD also has a cooperative agreement with the Flint River Soil and Water Conservation District. And if y'all ever have any questions, please reach out to any member of our GACD staff, and we'll be happy to assist. And we look forward to continuing serving all of you. So now I'm going to discuss some GACD programs that districts in Group 3 are participating in. I'll be discussing our cover crop project, our feral swine control and outreach efforts, and our pollinator initiative. And GACD does have additional programs that we execute in other areas of the state that I won't be talking about today, but we do have all that information on our website. So GACD has partnered with the Lower Chattahoochee River Conservation District to expand the knowledge of how common cropping systems are impacted by soil health practices using cover crops, crop rotations, and planting methods. By installing multiple demonstration sites in cooperation with local farmers in the Conservation District, we are illustrating the benefits of cover crop usage to producers in Southwest Georgia through reduced soil erosion, improved water quantity and quality in the region, plant and soil health improvements, as well as energy savings. And GACD is also working with the local UGA extension offices and other partners in the region to promote soil health practices through field days and targeted outreach. So you can see here, Mr. Seth McAllister, he's the extension agent for Terrell County. He has been working closely with us on this project, and also Harold Wilson. Harold Wilson has been managing this project in cooperation with the Lower Chattahoochee River Soil and Water Conservation District. And as y'all know, feral swine are a serious threat to Georgia's natural resources and agricultural crops. And one of the ways GACD is working to assist with this issue is by providing funding to conservation districts across the state so they can purchase trapping equipment and start a feral swine control program locally. So right now, GACD has 12 conservation districts statewide that are operating their own control program. And you can see from the map here on your screen, the areas in pink show the conservation districts who are participating. And as you can see, districts are covering a substantial area of the state, and they are definitely showing an impact with their efforts. Our feral swine control program is led by Tom Mims, and Tom is a district supervisor for the Briar Creek Soil and Water Conservation District up in the Augusta area. And he also chairs GACD's Feral Swine Committee. So I do want to thank Tom for his dedication and leadership of this program. He's always happy to answer any questions about our program, or if your district is interested in participating, you can contact him, and GACD staff will be happy to give y'all his contact information if needed. And we do have one district in Group 3 who is participating in our feral swine control program, and that is the Middle South Georgia Conservation District. They recently started up their program this summer, and we are looking forward to hearing of continued success within that district. And so far this year through July, conservation districts statewide have eliminated over 6,000 hogs, and they have saved property owners almost $2 million from damage to their property and agricultural crops. So we share this data every month via email and also on our GACD Facebook, and you can just let us know if you would like to be included on that information. So in addition to our control efforts, GACD partners with the University of Georgia Warnell School of Forestry, the Georgia Department of Agriculture, the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, and the United States Department of Agriculture to conduct feral swine outreach throughout the state. And these workshops are free for attendees, and participants learn about all aspects of hog biology, transportation issues, regulation, and there is also a live trapping demonstration. And we have partnered with conservation districts to host these workshops and have held several workshops over the past few years in Group 3. And now I will be discussing Group 3's involvement in GACD's pollinator initiative. GACD and all of the conservation districts in Group 3 have partnered to install 7 pollinator gardens at schools and community centers. Through this initiative, GACD has provided conservation districts with raised bed kits, soil, seeds, and signage to implement this project. These pollinator gardens serve as a learning opportunity for students and adults to learn about pollinators' role in agricultural production through educational lessons. And GACD and conservation districts in Group 3 have partnered to perform site preparation for 2 larger pollinator habitats in Group 3. For the habitats, we are using a smothering technique to prep the soil, and you can see an example of that in the picture on your screen. But GACD has provided the districts with black plastic that they have installed on the property this past spring, and that plastic stays in place for a full year and will be removed next spring, and at that time they'll plant the pollinator seeds. And our Group 3 districts that are participating in this pollinator habitat program are the Lower Chattahoochee River Conservation District and the Middle South Georgia Conservation District. And in addition, GACD is working with the Georgia Department of Transportation to install additional pollinator habitats and educational exhibits at welcome centers located on the interstate corridors leading into the state. These welcome centers have a lot of foot traffic, and they'll provide a great learning opportunity to promote our state's pollinators. Arnie Payne, GACD's pollinator coordinator, is also expanding pollinator outreach throughout the state by developing educational curriculum for teachers to use in conjunction with their GACD Conservation District pollinator garden. She is also working with monarchs across Georgia to hold a class for teachers where they'll learn how to implement pollinator education into their agriculture classroom. And there will be a free workshop held in Tifton on October 16th. So if y'all know of any educators who will be interested in attending, please let them know about this opportunity. And Irony is available to answer any questions related to that workshop or your district's participation in our pollinator initiative at her email address on your screen. And if any of your conservation districts are interested in providing support directly to these programs you just heard about, we do invite your district to become a GACD Friend of Conservation. All donations through our Friend of Conservation program provide additional support to our programs and GACD training events. And more information about that is listed on our website at the link that is showing on your screen. And now I'm really excited to give y'all a recap of the 2021 Natural Resources Conservation Workshop. And for those of y'all who aren't familiar with NRCW, it's a week-long camp that takes place every summer at Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College in Tifton, Georgia. And this year was the workshop's 60th year. High school students from Georgia have the opportunity to learn about the importance of natural resources and take field trips where they can learn how to shoot skeet, learn about archery. They also get the opportunity to go fishing, and they learn about different natural resources methods such as prescribed burning, and they also learn about career paths that they can take in the natural resources field. In addition, they also have the opportunity to receive valuable college scholarships provided by many of our partner agencies. And GACD is very involved with the workshop. And one of the ways we are involved is Michelle Boone, who is our GACD staff member for Southeast Georgia. She actually serves as the workshop director, and GACD also assists students with registering for the workshop every year. And conservation districts are always excited for the workshop, and the ways that they are involved is by sponsoring the registration fees of all the students who attend the workshop. So the students essentially get to attend this for free because of conservation districts paying those registration fees. So this year, Group 3 sent a total of 10 students to the workshop. So Flint River sent 1 student, Lower Chattahoochee River sent 1 student, Middle South Georgia sent 3 students, and Mulkey River sent 5 students. So thank y'all for continuing to provide this important learning opportunity to your local students. And in addition, many conservation districts also provide scholarships to students at camp. And this year, the recipient of the $500 Flint River Soil and Water Conservation District Scholarship is Kennedy Gross. And Kennedy resides in Grovetown, Georgia, and is an upcoming junior at Evans High School. If any of your districts are interested in providing a local scholarship at the workshop, please let GACD know, and we can help get that set up for next year. And GACD also partners with conservation districts across the state to offer a $6,500 scholarship to the highest scoring individuals at camp. Since camp was canceled last year, we were able to offer 2 of those scholarships this year, and both the recipients were actually from Group 1, Mallory Martin from Carroll County and Luca Antonazzi from DeKalb County were this year's recipients. And these $6,500 scholarships can be used at any college in the state of Georgia, and Mallory and Luca were both so excited to receive this and grateful for the opportunity. GACD board and staff would like to thank all of the conservation districts in Group 3 for your contributions towards this scholarship through the extra donation in your GACD dues. So thank you all, and we definitely appreciate all that you all do to support the workshop. And this year, the GACD board and staff and the board and staff of the Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Commission were able to have a meet and greet on campus of ABAC during the Natural Resources Conservation Workshop. So all of the board members and staff were excited to see the workshop in action and meet all of the participating students. So thank you all for attending that event. And here is GACD's contact information. If you have any questions about anything that was just presented, you can contact us, or you can type them into your Zoom chat box now, and we will answer those at the end of the session today.
Great, Katie. Thanks. Yeah, appreciate the update. So certainly a lot going on at GACD, and as Katie mentioned, we're just kind of focusing in on projects down here in Group 3, but tons of information on the website. We've got a got pretty broad coverage of projects around the state, and just trying to position GACD to help amplify what you all are doing in your own individual conservation districts, and just support that work. And so Katie put that picture back up, which I think is really good. One of the words that has come up a lot since we hopped on the phone this morning is partners and partnerships, and certainly our partnership at GACD with the Soil and Water Commission is critical to our success, and so we were really excited to be able to have that kind of joint board meeting with the commissioners, and talk about some ways that we can partner and position each entity to better serve you all out there in the district. So I'm hopeful that this is not the last picture we're able to take as a group together, and looking forward to working with Mr. Bob and the rest of the commission folks moving forward. So